Ooh, hello. Me again, happy Thursday everybody. Some of you I've only recently just spoken to, and it was lovely to speak to you and your parents today, knowing that everyone is doing so well, so happy, working hard and all their stuff at home. Anyway, it's time for a new chapter, new hut, same Jack, cuddly worry monster who is called
Zig.
Zig.
Zig hungry.
He's not. Well, it's because we don't have any worries. That's why he's hungry. Anyway, on with the chapter, Plum. Chapter 36. You coming in?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't stop thinking about Bo waiting for us. He'd be wondering why we hadn't come round. Why I wasn't helping with Dog like I'd promised. But there was never a chance to go and explain. Mum was always in the house now. I felt so angry with her for not listening to me, not hearing me. Zig, you're in the way of the book. Not understanding. I stayed up in the bedroom as much as I could, only coming down when I was called to come and eat. Over dinner I wouldn't speak. I would chew on mouthful after mouthful until my plate was empty, and then go back to the bedroom. I could feel Mum's eyes following me as I silently washed up my plate and glass and made my way up the stairs again. It seemed like she wanted to say something, like the words were there in her mouth, but she couldn't let them go, couldn't let them out. I turned away from her gaze, ignoring the feeling of sickness that came over me at these times, and thought of Bo, sitting alone on the other side of the wall, wondering why it was that we hadn't been round. I begged Mum not to speak to him. The moment we ran into her and Tiber, Betsy had slammed Bo's front door closed behind us, and somehow had managed to shepherd Mum away from his house. She threatened to knock on his door the next morning, but I pleaded with her not to. I couldn't stop crying and shaking at the thought of it. I knew it would upset him. I knew Mum would shout. In the end, she agreed that she wouldn't, if only to stop my hysterical pleas and cries. I never go back, I promised. I won't see him again. I felt myself go blank at the thought, but I kept my hands in my pockets, one wrapped around the old walnut, the other one with crossed fingers, undoing the promise before I'd finished making it. Sorry. Mum hadn't found another job yet, but she said she wasn't going to look at anything that wasn't during school hours. She and Tiber had made some kind of pact. Neither of them ever told me what had happened at the police station that night, but I could tell they'd forgiven each other in some way. It wasn't quite the normal. It wasn't quite like normal. They didn't joke around as they had before. In fact, sometimes when I heard serious adult voices talking, I thought Dad was there, but when I went into the room, I just saw Mum and Tiber talking quietly together. Now that Tiber was the same height as Mum, they looked each other directly in the eye. They spoke more than Mum and I did now. I wondered if we would ever all speak to each other again. It seemed like a very long time since we shared anything, the three of us, without something stirring, unspoken, just under the surface. If I ever heard Betsy and her brothers playing outside, I'd always look out the window, and Betsy would always be looking for me too. We'd wave and grin to each other. And she would mime something about football that I couldn't quite understand. It wasn't the same as seeing each other like we used to, but at least we were in contact. I didn't see Bo at all. A few days after Mum left her job, I was walking back from school, in between Mum and Tiber, as I passed the bin and the lamppost. I had an idea. Suddenly I knew how I could tell Bo what was happening. I would leave him a message. Using our old hiding spot, the space between the bin and the lamppost. I wrote to him that night. Dear Bo, it's Lulu. I can't come round and see you anymore. I can't see Betsy either. My mum found out that we were coming to see you, and now she won't let me come anymore. She's very angry with me, even though I told her you were my friend. If I do get the chance, I will come back. I haven't forgotten you, or I'll promise to help you fly home, back to the place. I hope Doggy's all right. Tell him I'm sorry about the walks. I hope your aches are better and you can walk him. Any luck with flying? Your friend, Lulu. P.S. I found this stone I thought you like. It's not a wonder, but I think you'll like the colour. It was the kind of letter that didn't seem to say enough or say it in the right way, even though it's full of words. I'd filled a whole page with writing. I had to fold the piece of paper about 5 times so it fit into the matchbox that had once held the moss. If I used that, Bo would recognise it straight away. I also tucked in a little stone that I'd picked up on my way home from school. It was caramel coloured, like a piece of buttery fudge, and shaped a bit like a cube. The next morning, before Mum and Tiber had come out of the house, I quickly wedged the matchbox between the bin and the lamppost. I brushed my fingers across it, testing that it was securely in place. "Lilo! Away from that rubbish bin!" Mum's voice pierced the still street. "Find this, Bo. Find this," I whispered, looking over at the jaded blue door. The numbers looked browner and rustier than ever. Later that day, I ran ahead of Mum and Tiber, my eyes fixed on the hiding place. Only when I was a few steps away did I see what was there. The matchbox was gone and had been replaced by a small wooden box tied up with a shoelace that had been knotted several times. I had to tug hard to release it, and without looking at it, I buried it in my school bag among my reading books so Mum wouldn't see it. "Lilo, why are you always hanging out by that smelly bin?" Mum said. "Come on, get inside now." Once we were in, she pulled the door firmly shut behind us, and then locked it with a key, which she dropped into her pocket. "Locked up for the night, are we, Mum?" Tiber said. "Got to stop you two escaping," she said, smiling, though her face had fallen into what looked more like a grimace.
Whoa.
"It's like we're in jail," Tiber said. "Rather this jail than another," Mum said, and after that Tiber fell silent. He loped upstairs, taking the steps 3 at a time. "Think I might have a shower, Lilo," Mum said. "You got homework to do?" I nodded and dumped my bag on our small sagging sofa. I took out one of the books and pretended to be studying it closely, but I wasn't really reading it. As soon as Mum had gone upstairs, I pulled the wooden box out of my bag and slipped off the shoelace. Inside was a folded square of paper, along with a single feather that was light brown in colour. I feverishly unfolded the piece of paper. Time to go to the place. That was all Bo had written. Oh, blimey, governor. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I might try calling some of the people I didn't get through to soon. We're going to be clapping the NHS and ourselves, key workers and all those kind of things at about 8 o'clock. You're going to be shining your flashing blue light.
Yeah.
Maybe blowing the trumpet, doing all those things to show our appreciation. Keep working hard. Friday tomorrow, give yourself a little bit of a treat. We always have a Friday treat, don't we?
Yeah.
And remember, stay happy, stay safe, stay curious, and stay you. Stay Zig.